Washington, D.C. Day 3. Created by Brooke, Graham, and Cameron. Today's forecast in Washington, D.C. is scattered rain with chilly temperatures, so don't forget your raincoat and jacket. After breakfast at the hotel, which consisted of French toast, eggs, just to name a couple things, boarded our Gunther tour bus at our very first stop, the Capitol. Unfortunately, the Capitol was under construction, so it wasn't very pretty, but it was still very cool to get to see where all of our laws and bills are passed. On the tour of the inside, we got to see the Capitol Dome, which is huge. It was awesome. Which it was under construction too, so it was not that pretty either. We saw where George Washington's empty tomb is located underneath in the basement. He didn't want to be buried anywhere except for on his land, so it is empty. This is Freedom. Freedom stands on top of the Capitol building, and she looks out over the nation. But this isn't exactly replica, because Freedom's on top of the building. After the Capitol, we headed to the Library of Congress. We saw the very first book ever printed, and it happens to be the Bible. That was cool, because where would we be today without books? The Library of Congress was a gorgeous building. It was amazing to get to see how huge it was and how much artwork was everywhere. That was awesome. After that, we headed to the National Mall Food Court. Some options to eat were Five Guys, sushi, and Mexican grill, just to name a couple.
After the National Mall Food Court, we headed to the Smithsonian Institution. We have the options of going to the Air and Space Museum, the Natural History Museum, or the American History Museum. Our whole group chose to go to the Air and Space Museum, and then the Natural History. In the Air and Space Museum, we saw a ton of things from Apollo 13 to Air Force jets to Wright Brothers creations. That was super cool. We had the choice of going on the airplane simulator, and that was my favorite part of the museum. It went upside down and all around. In the Air and Space Museum, we can go and watch movies in the planetarium. You could take tours of real airplanes, and you could see rockets that have been into space. The Natural History Museum was cool too. We saw rocks, gems, and preserved animals. There was everything from anglerfish to hammerhead to rocks from Easter Island, but unfortunately the Hope Diamond was closed and was not on display the day we were there. So we didn't get to see it, but everything else we saw was pretty cool.
This is a preserved anglerfish. They have a natural light that hangs off their body that is used to attract their prey. After 3.5 hours at the Smithsonian, we left and took a long bus ride to the old town Alexandria for dinner. We ate at Bugsy's Pizza. They had good Chicago-style pizza, a salad bar, and a soda to drink. It tasted great. After dinner, we walked up to the street and met some people dressed up in crazy clothes. It was dark outside now, and we walked around on a spooky ghost tour. We had told some pretty crazy stories. Our ghost tour ended in the cemetery to leave you extra creeped out. We got back on the bus and drove back to our hotel and packed up all of our stuff. Directed by Graham, Cameron, and Brooke. Produced by Cameron, Brooke, and Graham. We would like to thank Miss Robertson, Miss McCandless, Miss Feaster, Mr. Friegels, and all the chaperones for making this the best trip